this is Darren Starwin, and I want to talk to you about the epidemic of low-grade PTSD. Now, modern life can be overwhelming at times. We really seem to be moving in a direction that seems to be unknown and new, with so many unprecedented changes that we have to keep adapting to. Our response to all this change can range from frequent anxiety and discombobulation to clarity and inspiration and joy. The way our brains are wired have a lot to do with which way we're going to respond. Our brains and nervous systems have evolved sophisticated ways to try to protect us from danger. One of these is the fight or flight response, which involves the midbrain, which includes the amygdala, the hypothalamus, and the hippocampus, interacting with the adrenal medulla, which stimulates adrenaline. This system is designed to compare stimuli coming into us to a database in our brain of past experiences and determine if it's safe or if it's danger. And if it's danger, it turns on the alarm. Now, our autonomic nervous system has two branches, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic branch stimulates our organs and activities into greater functioning, while the parasympathetic tends to chill everything out and make us relax. Now, anytime our brain's alarm system goes off, we go into sympathetic mode, and it's almost impossible to relax. Now, we've all heard about veterans coming back from war, suffering with what is often called post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. They complain about frequent anxiety, tension, nightmares, flashbacks, inability to relax. These unpleasant experiences can be triggered by things that seem harmless to most people, such as social mixers or going to the movies or noises and things like this. These experiences bring up past traumas so intensely that they actually relive the experience whether they want to or not. Now, PTSD is now affecting people in all walks of life. There's probably about 5 million Americans that are diagnosed with what's called full-blown PTSD, and they're partially or largely incapacitated by it. Now, most of the rest of us experience PTSD on a less incapacitating level. I call this low-grade PTSD. We can live and function well, but this brand of PTSD can bring up ongoing tension in our bodies, an unending committee of negative voices in our head that never shuts up, and a variety of symptoms of anxiety and depression and fatigue and insomnia and things like this. The reason most people don't think of calling this PTSD is because having a sense of tension and stress has become our new normal. And even these more normal levels of stress can be quite challenging because they tend to keep our sympathetic nervous system switched on a lot more of the time than is good for us. Now, so many people seek out activities to try to relax themselves and experience more inner peace, and this is a really good thing because having too much sympathetic dominance can tend to predispose us to some of these diseases like heart disease and cancer, hypertension, immune deficiency, various kinds of stress, and just in general not having as happy of a life. Now, it can be very frustrating to try to rid yourself of this because sometimes it seems that the more we try to root out negative thinking and patterns, the more deeply entrenched it gets. A great analogy for this comes from ancient Greek mythology. Do you remember the 7 labors of Hercules? In his second labor, Hercules was asked to slay this fearsome monster called the Hydra that had 9 snarling, vicious heads with poisonous teeth. So Hercules came trying to kill the Hydra, and he found that whenever he used his strength and his power to cut off one head of the Hydra, 2 more heads would grow back in its place. And he quickly found that with all his strength and power, he couldn't kill the Hydra that way. Now, so many of us have invested so much time and money into psychotherapy, into different workshops, into different stress reduction methods, meditation, spiritual teachers. We've been good people and have tried to make the world a better place. Yet it can seem like every time we clear up one issue, 2 more grow back in its place, just like that Hydra. Do you know what I'm talking about? Now, I know this can seem kind of gloom and doom, especially with all the crises and uncertainties in this world that can bring on this experience of the PTSD response seem to be increasing in our world, but it doesn't have to be. Nature always provides a remedy for our ailments. We just have to recognize it and use it. In the case of low-grade PTSD, the solution exists within ourselves, within the center point of our consciousness. This point has been recognized and spoken about for thousands of years, and it's been called by many different names. I like to call it our calm center. Hurricanes can have violent, swirling winds that can exceed 150 miles an hour and create massive damage. But there is always a calm, peaceful zone in the center of every hurricane that's called the eye of the hurricane. Now, in a very similar way, the calm center is always inside of us. When our attention is on the swirling winds of our mind, it does tend to trigger the PTSD response, and it's very hard to prevent that. But when we put our attention on our calm center, we are wired, we're already created in our true nature to become more calm and balanced and Zen-like. Now, this is not to minimize the suffering of people with PTSD or try to make it sound easy. Anybody who wants to experience true change and profound healing requires courage, commitment, a real true desire to be whole. Yet anybody can do this who really wants to do this. Sometimes it just takes the right support.